A reading from the book of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 18. Jeremiah visits the potter. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Get up and make your way down to the potter's house, and there I shall let you hear my words. So I went down to the potter's house, and there he was, working at the wheel. But the vessel he was making of clay was spoiled in the potter's hand, and he reworked it into another vessel, as seemed good to him. Then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, House of Israel, can I not do to you what this potter does? Says the Lord. Like clay in the potter's hand, so are you in mine, house of Israel. At one moment I announce that I shall uproot, break down, and destroy a certain nation or kingdom. But should the nation I have threatened abandon its wickedness, then I change my mind about the disaster that I had intended to inflict on it. At another time, I announce that I shall build up and plant a certain nation or kingdom. But should it do what is evil in my sight and refuse to listen to my voice, then I change my mind about the good that I was intending to do to it. So now, say this to the people of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Thus says the Lord, Listen, I am a potter, shaping evil against you and devising a plan against you. So now, each one of you, turn back from your evil ways, amend your conduct and actions. But they will say, It is no use. We shall follow our own plans. Each of us will act on our own wicked inclinations. Israel repudiates the Lord. Therefore, thus says the Lord, Ask among the nations if anyone has heard anything like this. The virgin Israel has done a horrible thing. Does the snow of Lebanon ever leave the rocks of Sirion? Do the rivers of foreign lands, their cold flowing waters, ever run dry? And yet my people have forgotten me. They burn incense to a nothing. They have been made to stumble in their ways, the ancient roads, to walk in paths on an unmade road, to make their land an object of horror, to be hissed at forever. Every passerby will be appalled and shake the head. Like the east wind, I shall scatter them before the enemy. I shall show them my back, not my face, the day they are ruined. A plot against Jeremiah. They said, Come on, let us concoct a plot against Jeremiah. For priests will never be lost for law. Wise men never be lost for advice. Prophets never be lost for the word. Come on, let us slander him and pay no attention to anything he says. Pay attention to me, Lord. Hear what my adversaries are saying. Should evil be returned for good? Now they have dug a pit for my life. Remember how I stood before you and spoke good of them, to turn your wrath away from them. So hand their children over to famine, abandon them to the edge of the sword. Let their wives become childless and widowed. Let their husbands die of plague. Their young men be cut down by the sword in battle. Let cries re-echo from their houses as you bring raiders suddenly on them, for they have dug a pit to catch me. They have laid snares to trap my feet. But you, Lord, know all about their murderous plot against me. Do not forgive their guilt. Do not efface their sin from your sight. Let them be hurled down before you. Deal with them while you are angry. The word of the Lord. A reading from the book of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 19, the broken jug and the altercation with Pashur. The Lord said to Jeremiah, "Go and buy a potter's earthenware jug. Take some of the people's elders and some of the senior priests with you. Go out to the valley of Ben Hinnom at the gate of the potsherds. There proclaim the words I say to you. You shall say, 'Kings of Judah, inhabitants of Jerusalem, listen to the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord Sabaoth, the God of Israel. I am about to bring such a disaster on this place that the ears of everyone who hears of it will ring. For they have abandoned me and have made this place unrecognizable and offered incense here to other gods, which neither they nor their ancestors nor the kings of Judah ever knew before. They have filled this place with the blood of the innocent, and they have built high places for Baal to burn their children as burnt offerings to Baal, a thing I never ordered, never mentioned, that had never entered my thoughts. So now the days are coming, declares the Lord, when people will no longer call this place Topheth or Valley of Ben Hinnom, but Valley of Slaughter. In this place I shall frustrate the plans of Judah and Jerusalem. I shall make them fall by the sword before their enemies, by the hand of those determined to kill them. I shall give their corpses as food to the birds of the sky and the animals of the earth. And I shall make this city an object of horror, to be hissed at. Every passerby will be appalled at it and whistle at the sight of all the wounds it has received. I shall make them eat the flesh of their own sons and daughters. They will eat one another during the siege, in the shortage to which their enemies and those who seek their life will reduce them. You shall break this jug in front of those who are with you and say to them, Thus says the Lord Sabaoth, I am going to break this people and this city, just as one breaks a potter's pot, so that it can never be mended again. They will bury in Topheth until there is no more room to bury. That is how I shall treat this place, declares the Lord, and its inhabitants, making this city just like Topheth. The houses of Jerusalem and those of the kings of Judah, all the houses on the roofs of which they offered incense to the whole array of heaven and poured libations to other gods, will be unclean, like this place Topheth. Then Jeremiah came back from Topheth, where the Lord had sent him to prophesy, and stood in the court of the temple of the Lord, and said to all the people, Thus says the Lord Sabaoth, the God of Israel, on this city and on all the towns belonging to it, I shall bring all the disaster which I have pronounced against it, since they have stubbornly refused to listen to my words. The word of the Lord.